Hello, everyone. It's Pastor Carrie here, and I am going to share with you all some things over the next few weeks. I know how some of you really love our time together at Vacation Bible School, and I thought maybe we could do some Vacation Bible School type of stories and enjoy some time together, even if it is through our computers. I do miss seeing you all at church, and just wanted to touch base and let you know I am thinking of you all during this time. So, this particular series that we will be looking at over the next 5 weeks is called God's Big Backyard. So, I'm coming to you from my big backyard. As you can see, back behind me here, we have lots of trees and lots of birds, and it's been really fun the last few months actually, because we've had a little family of fox grow up underneath our back porch, so we can see them out the windows. There are 3 babies that are getting bigger each and every day, and they're very playful, and besides just enjoying them, we have gotten to see lots of birds and other things. So I know that for many of us, we are not able to go very far. So our backyards are kind of our place to be right now. And so I thought this is a perfect connection to our VBS program, God's Big Backyard. So as we enter into our first story, each story is going to be about serving. So today's story is about what it means to serve our families. And the way I want to connect this to what's going on in our world today is that by staying home, by staying with our families, we are serving our families. We are taking care of each other. We are making sure that we aren't getting this virus that can make us sick or can make someone in our family sick, which can be really, really hard, because if you have grandparents or great grandparents or cousins or aunts and uncles that you're used to seeing, I know we're all missing those hugs and times together, but we are actually taking care of each other by staying home. And that's the story, is about serving family. And so today's story comes to us in God's big backyard, in a place called Egypt. So I don't know if you all know where Egypt is, but maybe you can get on your computers or pull out an old-fashioned map and see where Egypt is. And as many backyards might actually have, this story is taking place along a river. In Egypt, it's called the Nile River. We all probably have different types of water near our home. Some of us might live near a lake. We live near the wetlands. So if I was going to zoom in back behind you all here, we have some water from all the rain. It's not a river, it's not a creek, it's just kind of almost a swamp. But that's what a wetland is. It's just a place that holds the water, and then it drains. And there's actually a big reservoir on the other side of our houses over here, that this water will then drain into. So some of you might live, I don't know, there's the Rockaway River, there's the Black River that runs through Succasunna. There's one called the Musconetcong River. There's all kinds of rivers around where we live. So that would be another fun thing to look up and see what the closest river is to your big backyard. So today's story, it takes place in our Bible, in what we sometimes call the Old Testament, or what we also call our Hebrew scriptures. And that Bible, the beginning of our Bible starts with a book called Genesis, and the very next book is called Exodus, and that's where our story takes place. So it takes place right at the beginning of the collection of stories, Exodus 2. And there is a group of people, and they have been living in the country I told you, in Egypt, for a very long time. And the people were growing and growing and growing. And unfortunately, the Egyptians had decided that this group of people could be their slaves. And so they had taken this group of people and forced them to do their farming and to do their construction, to help build their roads and to help build their pyramids or things like that. So this group of people, they didn't have the same freedoms that other people in Egypt did. And so there was a very bad time, kind of like right now, we're having a very bad time with this virus, but there was a very bad time. And the Pharaoh, who happens to be like the president or the king, he decided that he did not want the Hebrew people to get any bigger, right? No more people. They were too many as it was. And so he said that there could no longer be any more boy babies. And so there was a family that had a little boy baby, and they did not want anything to happen to their little baby. And so the story in Exodus tells us that after 3 months, when the mom could no longer hide the fact that she had this little boy baby, she put him in a basket. And she set that basket along the reeds of the Nile River. Now, if you've ever been even over at Horseshoe Lake, over on the far side, you'll see like tall grasses growing up along the side of the lake. And oftentimes in rivers too, we have these tall grasses growing. And they can kind of create a little safe harbor. And so she placed the basket with her baby in it along the reeds of the river. So he wasn't like bouncing down the river like a raft, right? He was in a safe place along the reeds. And then one day, Pharaoh, remember I told you he was like the king or president, his daughter, she came out to the side of the river. She went out to her big backyard. And people would go to the river and collect water or wash their clothes or maybe even take a bath. That kind of sounds strange, right? Because we take baths in our house. But this took place a long, long time ago. And so the people just lived differently that long ago. But she came down and along the reeds, right, she found this basket. And she heard crying. And sure enough, in that basket was a little baby. And so she immediately thought to herself, oh, this must be one of the Hebrew, right? One of the babies of the people that were slaves in her country. Now, remember, her dad is the Pharaoh, so she's got some extra privileges. So she took the baby, and she didn't want anything bad to happen to it, right? She had a very tender heart. And at the same time that she got this baby, another person came along the way. And this young girl's name was Miriam. Now, Miriam happened to be the big sister of the baby. She was kind of like looking guard, watching out. Remember, our story is about serving family. She wanted to make sure that as long as possible, she could keep her eyes on what was happening with her little baby. And so she saw the Pharaoh's daughter picking up her little brother and holding him as she made herself known. And the Pharaoh's daughter started talking to her. And the little girl said, I know someone that can take care of that baby for you. And of course she was meaning the baby's real mom. And so Pharaoh's daughter said, that would be wonderful. I want you to take this baby to the person that can care for him until he's old enough to come and live with me. So the Pharaoh's daughter was actually going to adopt this little baby. And so the big sister Miriam was able to take her little baby with her and bring him back to his mom and let the mommy take care of him for a little bit longer. So they were serving their family. She was able to take care of her little baby brother and take care of her mom, and letting her mom have a little baby brother for a little bit longer. And then as he got older, they brought him back to Pharaoh's daughter, and she named him. Maybe you guys know this story by now, but she named him Moses. I hope you've heard of Moses. We learn a lot about him as he's a grown-up. But this is his story about when he was a baby. And the name Moses actually means I drew him out of the water, right? So Pharaoh's daughter drew this baby out of the water from a basket and named him Moses. And so Moses was raised in the palace of the Egyptians. He had a very good education, a very good life, and later God uses him to help free the Hebrew people out of Egypt. And so there's all kinds of stories we get with Moses. Moses in the burning bush, the 10 Commandments. But the story I'm sharing with you today is just of him as a little baby and what can happen in God's big backyard, right? To the Nile River. So I'm also going to send some ideas for you all of how you can take this story and think about ways in which you can serve your own family, especially right now when we're home together so much. So that I don't know if you can see this very well, but here is one of the craft items, and it's actually just making a family tree. And so what you can do is take paper, construction paper if you have it, if not just regular paper, and you can write the names of your family and create a little tree. Or one of the suggestions is I have goldfish here because fish live in a river, right? So we can take the goldfish and as we eat them, we can think of different ways to serve our family. Maybe we can help set the table for dinner. Or maybe we can help clear the table after lunch. Or maybe we can pick up our toys, right? Or maybe we can just give a good hug. Sometimes that is a wonderful way to serve our family. But as you have your goldfish, I want you to think of different ways in which you, during this time, can serve your family. And as we said from the very beginning, we want to keep our family safe. Moses' mom wanted to keep her baby boy safe. And she did what she had to do to make sure he was taken care of. And so we are doing everything we can do as well to make sure that we are taking care of each other. And so I look forward to when we can gather again, that I will be sharing some more stories with you in the days to come, the weeks to come. And hopefully I'll get a beautiful day like today where I can come outside and share my big backyard, because I truly do see wonderful things that God is doing all around me. So blessings to you all, and I hope that everybody is doing well. And maybe we can share pictures of our backyard with one another. Bye!